Hello everyone, we have had some very interesting tech challenges today. It's been an interesting day indeed. As you know, quite often when we start these types of things, we have some tech challenges because of the energy and everything that's moving. But we're here now and we're getting ready for the webinar. I am so excited to share this with you today. So I invite everyone to come on in, get settled. I hope you've got a cup of tea. I'm all ready with mine. And we'll get into the content. I'm going to give just a few minutes for people to join. Wow, I can see lots of you joining already. And I'm certain that all these things happen in alignment. You know, these things happen strangely, but they seem to work out. So do say hello in the chat. I can see people have joined us already. Hello, Stephen. Thank you so much for coming along today. And I invite you to say hi, to tell us who you are and where you're from. And I'm really looking forward to sharing the content with you today. I know that the things that we're going to cover are going to make a big difference in your experience and in your awakening. So we will do that. Now, we also have April, the lovely April is helping us today. She will be available in the webinar chat. So if you have any challenges, or you'll see a little hello from her there as well, you can say hello to April. She's bringing her wonderful energy with us today just to assist with this event. Hi, Teresa from California. Fantastic. Please do say hello. Don't be shy. You are amongst friends and lots of other light workers, so it's a really good energy. I can see Ilona. Oh, hello from the Netherlands. Helen's with us. Hi, Helen. Helen's a good friend. That's fantastic. So let's kind of get started. I want to make sure we've got enough time for everyone to join us. We've got Gloria from Virginia. Wow, we've got people from all over today. That's really awesome, and it's a good energy. I really believe when people join these things live, and there's so many light workers, there really is an energy to it, so it's fantastic. I can see that Stephen is from Ireland. We've got Jacob. What up, light workers? Hello. Fantastic. So keep saying hello if you're joined, if you've just joined. Don't be shy. You really are amongst friends here, and it's lots of spiritually awakened souls who are all of a similar type of energy, which is really nice. So I would like us to get started now. Now, I have to let you know in advance that I'm not fantastic with tech. I'm good with the spiritual aspect, but the tech, not so much. However, we're kind of learning all these new things, so this will be fantastic. So let's just get that sorted now. 1 second, and we will be ready to go. Okay. So let's begin our screen share. Just give a little second, and this will be showing up for you. And of course, if you guys can let me know in the chat that you can definitely see the slides and you can follow along, because it's really important that you're getting to see all the content that we're sharing. Very important. Oh, Gavin's with us as well. Gavin from Ireland. Interesting. We've got a few people from Ireland. That's really cool. It's a good energy. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm sure that you know that I am Kelly. I hope that you know that I am Kelly. That I am an intuitive energy healer. I specialise in spiritual awakening, and I have done for a long time now. And I'm sure you guys all know, because you've probably heard my story, that I went through a very intense awakening experience, and it was packed full of different signs and symptoms that were weird and wonderful. I'm sure you guys will resonate with that, and you can tell me in the chat. And of course, I couldn't get rid of these really difficult symptoms that I was having, and no one was able to help. That was probably the most challenging part of all of it. Not even the really experienced energy healing trainer friends that I had. These were people who were really well practiced in their craft. They really knew what they were doing with energy healing. And when I approached them, it was like, I don't know what to do. And that obviously would make a panic, because when you've got people who work in that field and even they don't know what's going on, that's quite scary. I tried all of the suggested approaches that people suggest to help in a spiritual awakening. So things like crystals and essential oils. I was meditating using incense, but nothing worked. And the weird thing was, and you guys might recognize this, sometimes those spiritual things actually made my symptoms worse. Now, you might not make the link right now, but we will be getting to that as we move through the video. So don't worry too much about that. As I said, I tried all the different things. Nothing worked for me. So I got to a point, and you may be feeling this way too, where it was like, what else can I do? There is no help for me. There's no hope. How am I possibly going to make it through this? Because it was just so intense. I really felt like I couldn't cope. And eventually, fortunately, I discovered the missing link and really decided that it was my purpose here to help other people to move through awakening. It was just such an all-encompassing experience that I thought, I don't want anyone else to go through this and go through all the pitfalls that I had gone through too, because that was, it took a long time. It takes a long time to move through this process. And when I realized that it didn't have to be that way, I just really didn't want it to continue. So before we start, I would advise you guys to turn off your phones, close any other tabs that you've got on your laptop, avoid any distractions, and just get a little bit focused, because we're really going deep into the information here, and this is your time. This is really your time to get the information that you need and move forward in your awakening experience too. Now, if you have any questions or you want to connect during or after this webinar, you can use the hashtag #GroundMyAwakening, and I'll get to see all your lovely comments. That'll be great. So later I'm going to show you how you can get one of our most popular energy healing meditations, the Rainbow Light Energy Clearing, absolutely free. So you're going to want to stick around to the end and we'll talk more about that. So I'm sure if you are here today, the question is, are you going through a spiritual awakening? Is that something that's really happening for you? And I'm sure you want to know. Please tell us in the chat if that's something that's going on for you. But first of all, let's just see where we're at today. Let's just read the room and see where everyone's at. So does this sound like you? You think you might be going through a spiritual awakening, but you can't be sure, or you're secretly afraid that you might have lost your mind. This comes up all the time in awakening, so please don't panic. You're definitely amongst friends today. You want to spiritually awaken, but you're too overwhelmed, emotional, life feels like a mess, you feel like you can't cope. Everyone finds this very, very difficult. You might resonate with that. Or you've tried to gain control of your awakening experience, but nothing seems to work, no matter what you do, and you just can't get a handle on it. Another very common experience. So tell me in the chat what one of those scenarios best describes why you came along today. Was it 1, 2, or 3? Do let us know, because it's always really interesting for us to see how this is affecting everyone else too. I can see so many people have joined us in the chat. Thank you so much. I can see Stephen says it's 3. Shaz says all of them. Gavin, 3. 3's resonating. I can see Kate has asked, is this live? Yes, it's live. Welcome, come on in. Interesting, really good to see. Kate says all people are really resonating with what we're talking about, so that's good to know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to learn today. First thing, we're going to talk about 8 signs that you're going through a real spiritual awakening so that you can really know for sure. And I have a special system to these signs that are really going to make it easy for you to know really at a glance if it's happening or not. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I've skipped one. This is me in technology. I'm good at the energy healing, not so great at the tech. To how the process of awakening occurs in the body and in the energy. So what I find is that when people start to understand how it actually works, how it occurs, it's like all the anxiety really clears, really calms down, because it's like, okay, I actually know what's going on. I recognize this sign or symptom. There's not something wrong with me. It's just part of the process, and we tend to calm down when that happens. Why energy grounding doesn't work for us, and this is something I have found consistently throughout my own journey and throughout the people that I've worked with over the last few years who are going through spiritual awakening, it just doesn't work for us. Even things that say on the label, for energy grounding, crystals for energy grounding, doesn't work for us. But don't worry, I'm going to explain why that is, and it will help to understand. Plus, we're going to have a live Q&A so that you can answer so that I can answer some of your most pressing spiritual awakening questions. So this is what's really important for me today to bring this to you is I want you to walk away with a sense of security, a sense of stability, a sense of I understand what's happening to me, so everything's okay. Even though I can't change everything overnight, even though it's still a challenging process, I recognize the framework of what it is that's happening to me and everything's all right. That's really important. Now, before we dig in, I want to share a little bit about my story with you kind of quickly, so that you know how I got here, how I learned all this stuff, because it was an interesting journey. About 10 years ago, my life suddenly started to completely fall apart. So at that time, I lost my job. I went through complete burnout. I was dealing with kind of chronic fatigue-like symptoms. I was completely broke. My life really was a mess. It was shocking how quickly everything started to fall away all at one time. And then this process of spiritual awakening began. Of course, I wasn't entirely sure that that's what it was when it began, but that is ultimately how it all came about. Back then, I was really, really struggling when the awakening process began. And I think that you might relate to some of these things that I'm about to bring up. So do tell us in the chat, because I love to hear from you guys and see if you resonate with my experience too. So the first thing was, I was completely overwhelmed. Overwhelmed doesn't even really cut it. And I know that you guys will resonate with this, because that's just the experience of awakening when it begins. And my emotions intensified, and they would change so suddenly, seemingly with no cause. It was just like, oh, changed, mood's different, anxiety, sadness, depression, feeling tearful. It's like, what is going on? What is that? And I felt really anxious. I felt very fearful, which just couldn't be soothed. And you try everything when you're going through anxiety. You try all the different treatments, you try different approaches. Nothing, for some strange reason, would quell that anxiety. It just didn't work. And I was constantly triggered by everything. And that didn't make sense to me. It was like, why all of a sudden do I seem to be a complete mess? I thought I was okay before, and spiritual awakening has started, and I've become even worse than I was before. It didn't make sense. My life seemed to get worse, as I said, not better. I really felt like everything was falling apart. And despite the fact that I was holding on to the hope that this is something that is giving me a spiritual sign, it's giving me some sort of synchronistic event, you can hold on to that. You can tell yourself, I know this has some bigger meaning when those moments are there. But when those moments aren't, and there seems to be no connection, you do wonder if you've lost your mind. I mean, that's just something that came up for me a lot until I really get a handle on the process. And I'm interested to know if you guys feel the same way. Did you question that? Did you think, maybe I've lost my mind? Maybe something's gone wrong because this isn't the way it's meant to be? I became so much more introverted. So I suddenly went from being quite a sociable person and having a lot of friends and a lot of different social activities on all the time, to wanting to be alone. And I found that spending time around other people was just too overwhelming, because I was picking up all their stuff. You don't always realize that at first, but fortunately I did some energy healing training that let me detect that this is what was happening. I would spend time around people, we would be chatting, everything would seem okay, and I would leave feeling stressed or depressed or moody. There would be something that was like a hangover from spending time with other people. It was really weird. And I became super sensitive to all the energy around me. My empathy became painfully intense, and my psychic senses increased, which was sometimes a little bit scary, if I'm honest, because they were far too open. This is something that happens quite often in spiritual awakening. We just get blasted open in the psychic centers, and you just end up picking up on everything. And there's no real filter or boundary there to protect you from choosing what to let in and what shouldn't be let in. And then I finally figured out what the problem was. It took a long time though. It took quite a while, but I was ungrounded. I was energetically ungrounded. And when I recognized that that was the problem, and that was the thing that was really causing the signs and symptoms that I was having, I could see that was linked. And I was working a bit like a spiritual scientist, just, trying to detect, where is my energy at and what type of symptoms are showing up and what is the link between those. So I tried everything to ground my energies. I did everything that is suggested to you on the awakening pathway, everything that's suggested to you in spirituality. You want to be using grounding crystals, you want to be using grounding incense, you want to be using grounding essential oils, but nothing worked. Nothing worked at all. So I finally found the answer. And when I did, something really incredible happened to me. So all of that really relentless overwhelm, pressure, emotional intensity, it just suddenly reduced. Now, that was a huge thing because that was a pressure that I had felt for years by this point. It had been going on for years. So it was like, oh my gosh, where did that go? Like, what has happened? For the first time in years, I felt calm. That was something I couldn't feel throughout the beginning of the process. That was really years. I couldn't feel that sense of stability within. So all of a sudden I felt calm, I felt centered, I felt peaceful, and I just knew when that happened, I was finally back in control of this spiritual transformation. It's like I found the answer. It's not all chaotic. Everything isn't spiraling out of control. Everything isn't too much to cope with. Actually, I'm back in alignment and I've got some form of control on this experience. And that really transformed everything for me in my experience. But best of all, there was something really positive that came out of it, as if that's not enough. I found that my spiritual gifts and abilities improved hugely. They actually improved massively as a result of the grounding. Now, who knew that? That seems like a polar opposite. You get grounded, you put your roots down on earth, and the spirituality abilities increase. That doesn't really align with what we're usually taught, but it happened for me and I've seen it happen again and again for my clients. It's strangely something that is not shared. I've looked for it on the internet. I've searched for a long time to find these answers and no one else seems to be recognizing this link, which I think is why we're all struggling with awakening. So today I am happily fulfilling my purpose, as we're doing right now in this webinar, by helping others to awaken more easily, to reduce their symptoms, and to make awakening something that is manageable alongside your daily life. And I've maintained the energetic stability that keeps me calm, it keeps me centered, and most importantly, keeps me in control of my awakening. Because you really do need to have some level of control, or as you know, when the awakening process begins, it just spirals out and takes your whole life with it. You need to have some level of control and management of the experience. And I felt in alignment with the universe and with my journey. That was a really big deal. It felt great to be connected in that way. And as I said, I have boosted my intuition threefold. I think threefold is light. Before I was not able to really I was able to do energy healing, and that was something that I did, but the clarity and the certainty of things coming through, I didn't really have any sort of mediumship abilities. And while that's still not my forte, and I do always say that in my sessions, it's something that has developed that it's like, wow, I'm able to tune into more things, more connections. I'm able to give more information. I'm able to get more insight in my daily life that helps guide me and lead me forward and just keep me centered. So it's huge. It really has made such a big difference. I can see that quite a lot of people are resonating with this. So let's see, Gavin says, has had many periods of feeling like he's lost his mind, particularly when intense physical issues arise at the same time, and that can go hand in hand. Sometimes we get these symptoms that come up like that. Stephen says, my energy was gone when I'm around people. It's just so difficult to maintain any sort of energetic balance. Shaz says, all of those except the psychic senses, that's okay. Not everyone gets every single one in the same pattern or at the same time. So just trust that your awakening is going the way that it should. And Teresa says, I relate to the challenges to ground, and so does Alona. Yes, it's not easy. It really isn't. So, like I said, I'm not the only one. I've been working with lots of different people over the years since my awakening began, and my client Beth has also been able to do the same. So she said, I've used these techniques for the past year and they've really helped. My awakening took about a year and a half and my world was torn apart and then built back up into a life of my dreams. I still use these techniques to ground when I feel too much, which is often. These healings are also wonderful. Blessed to have you. That was a lovely testimonial. I love that. So tell me in the chat, what would it mean for you to finally feel secure, grounded, calm, or emotionally balanced in your awakening experience? What would it mean to reduce your symptoms and really gain control of this once and for all? I'm really interested to know how you guys feel about that. Right, let's see. I'm going to just let you respond, and I'm going to take a little sip of my tea. Make sure that you've got a little drink to hand. These things actually do help with energy moving if you stay hydrated. I can see Kristen says, I want my life back. It is really tough, and I do send compassion to all of you watching, whether you're live or you're watching the recording. It's really difficult. Kristen says, I feel drained. You do. You feel drained. You feel exhausted. It's really difficult to keep moving forward when you're totally exhausted. Shaz says, it would mean everything to me. I had this spiritual longing for so long. Now I don't want it anymore. I want to go back to normal. That's a common experience. But what I can tell you, Shaz, is that you will be able to get to a space where you can live a normal daily life and have this transformation go on alongside it. But you can get to the place where it's the positive stuff. It doesn't all have to be negative. So hold on, just hold on for me, and we'll get through this, and you'll have all the information that you need. Gavin says, I'm just worn out from the intensity of suffering states and chaos. Yeah, it's intense. Ilona says, I would love that to happen. Yes, we'll get there. We'll certainly get there. Kate says, it would mean the world. I just want my life back too. I feel of no purpose and just exist. Now, interestingly, Kate, you bring that up and that's how you're feeling right now. And that's actually a sign of spiritual awakening right there. That feeling of no purpose comes up a lot. So that tells me that you're actually right in alignment. Gavin says, it's a struggle to keep going. Teresa says, I feel like I could do purposeful work rather than being so focused on my health challenges. And that's part of the challenge too. If you're so focused on awakening and you're stuck in that state where you're dealing with all the signs and symptoms and all the challenges of that, you can't move into your purpose. You can't move forward into all that really great spiritual work. Right, let's see. Jacob says, ascension symptoms are rough. I would like to feel more balanced and able to hold the light and find abundance and more heart connection. That can definitely happen for you, Jacob, and for everyone watching. Shaz says, grounding, such as walking barefoot, seems to work, and then I'm back to anxious and disassociated state within an hour. We're going to share why that is. So I think you'll get a lot of clarity out of this. And Maya, hello Maya, says, it started in March 2020. And just talking about not being able to navigate it. So it's a really challenging process. So now you're probably wondering, okay, well, where do I start? Okay, we definitely know that everyone's got their own experience going on, and there's a lot of similarities coming up, which we can see in the chat, which I appreciate. But where do we start? So let's dive in. So lesson 1, we're talking about what is a spiritual awakening, okay? So a spiritual awakening is a dramatic, unexpected, and jolting experience of rapid transformation. So that's when you know it happens really quickly. It can knock you off your feet. It's so intense, but it is something that moves very, very quickly. It's a raising of our spiritual vibration, our awareness, and our consciousness. It's a purging process. So this is going to start to bring some understanding to the experience that you guys are having, some of the symptoms that you have. It is a clearing out of everything that is lower vibrational, that no longer serves us, so that we can align ourselves with our highest and best life, so that we can align ourselves with our purpose, with the thing that we're here to do, the thing that's going to bring us the greatest joy. And it's a combination of both 3D and 5D signs and symptoms. So when you're going through this experience, what you'll notice is it's not just the spiritual that you experience. You start to experience the spiritual through the 3D. So this is where you notice really weird synchronicities. Tell me if you've experienced this. You notice really weird synchronicities, or you see things that are signs that you have a moment where you're like, did anyone else just see that? That is unbelievable. You know, I know that I've had that a lot. I get it in my sessions. I see it with spirit animals and really peculiar things. You've probably seen that in our social media. Share some of those stories. But, you know, these incredible things do happen to us. You get that moment of the 5D coming through the 3D, and then once it passes, you kind of sink back down into all the chaos and the drama of awakening again. And of course, it can give us symptoms that we don't understand, and that can lead us to crisis if we don't know how to manage it. So one thing I do want you to know if you're watching the masterclass today is, please don't judge yourself for not being able to cope, for not being able to manage this experience. It is another level of experience that you're going through. You are a very brave soul for going through spiritual awakening. It takes a real tough person and a real strong soul to move through this process. So don't question yourself if it has taken you to crisis, if it has made you feel like you're going to break down. It's part of the process, but it doesn't have to be that way. And we'll get into that further in the video. So lesson 2, we're talking about 8 signs that you're going through a real spiritual awakening so that you can know for sure. I want you to leave with certainty today. And that's why the chat is so important. I really wanted as many people to come live as they could, because it was important to make sure that people can really ask the questions that they have. If there's still something that they're not sure about, or if there's a sign or symptom that seems a little bit unusual, or they can't find it in other lists, it's good to get that confirmation. So some of the signs and symptoms, and this is where you're going to look at the list and you're going to be able to kind of align your sign or symptom with one of these 8 signs. And if you're not sure, you can ask me in the chat and I'll help you with that. Okay. So the first one is that you will be highly sensitive and emotional. Usually when you get highly sensitive and emotional in awakening, it seems to be for no seeming cause. Your emotions change really quickly, or you're super triggered. So it could be that every time you interact with someone else, every time they say something, they give you a look, you know, the way that you have interactions with people out in public, whatever it is, something just doesn't feel right, and you leave feeling deeply upset or deeply anxious in some form or another. You will feel anxious or panicked a lot of the time. Now, this is important to note because anxiety is a very common experience in spiritual awakening, and I'll talk a little bit about why that is shortly. It happens for a reason, okay? And you can ground it, you can make it better, but also you'll be processing a lot of old pain, trauma, fear from past lives, because awakening is the experience where you look at all the timeline, all the different lifetimes that you've had, and you're really drawing out the wisdom, and you're letting go of all the pain, all the negative beliefs, all the things that are still attracting negativity into your field that are stopping you from reaching that higher vibration. Okay, so it's all part of it, and you're going to be clearing that out. You get extremely high empathy. Now, in some cases, this can be agony. You will pick up on other people's stuff. You'll become very, very painfully empathic. You might not be able to watch the news. That happened to me. It's like, can't watch the news, can't watch upsetting movies, can't watch an episode of a sitcom if there's something, you know, upsetting in it. You just become, you really feel the pain because your compassion is expanding. So you can feel more, you can sense more. And also that's part of picking up on what's coming up to the surface within you to be healed in order to move forward in your awakening. So we'll get into a little bit more of that shortly. You'll also feel completely overwhelmed. And I think this is probably the symptom that I actually hear most often, apart from anxiety. You just feel completely overwhelmed by the awakening process. Everything starts to feel like too much. Life sometimes starts to feel like an unmanageable burden. You know, all of a sudden it's like, you know, I can't deal with you know, going and doing the errands that I need to do. I can't deal with going to work. I can't focus on anything because this experience is so all-encompassing that I just can't cope with it. So I can see a few people are resonating with some of the signs, which is great actually to see that people are recognizing these. I can see Ilona says she's been dealing with these for over 3 years now, and she really wants to know what her purpose is. The more grounded you get, that purpose will come along. We'll help you with that. Gavin says, certainly plenty of moments of crazy synchronicities. Kate says, the number so often, but I still think it's just random and it's me clinging to it. The number synchronicity of 20 to 11 loads, but ... I know, Kate, but I have to tell you, numbers is a big way that I get communication from the universe as well. So if it shows up a little bit more often than not, then you can trust it. And the other thing you can do, what I used to do is I used to say, if you want me to take note of this message, show me 3 times in quick succession. And then there's no doubt. You see it 3 times, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. I can see Shaz says, I have 7 out of 8 signs and on antidepressants for 8 years. Not uncommon, Shaz. You know, we need healing for the psyche. Sometimes we need additional support to move through this process. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Kristen says, I can't watch the news. Oh, I know. I was like that too. But it does pass. It does move eventually. I can see a lot of people really, really resonating with this. Kate says, I just worry about everything and everyone, and that there's nothing I can do. You know, these worries do keep coming up and it's very challenging, but You will get there. I promise that you'll get there, and we're here to support you. Teresa's resonating with the synchronicities of the number patterns. This is great. This is why it's so important for us all to share in the chat, because you recognize that other people are going through the same thing. Fantastic. Okay. So let's see. Sorry, there's still a few more signs that we have. Okay. So the other signs are feeling lost, confused, or questioning your sanity. That comes up a lot. You know, I think I've lost my mind. This can't be really happening. That's very, very common. And feeling lost, not knowing how to move forward or what you could possibly do to even move forward. Your psychic senses can be out of control, which can mean in certain cases that they can be intrusive or frightening. So this is what I was talking about, where there are no boundaries. Our energy becomes so high frequency, there's no energetic boundaries anymore. So psychic information in lots of different forms. It could be contact, it could be an insight, it could be wisdom, but it just comes straight into your field and there's no space between you and that information. So you tend to feel that it's kind of invaded your space a little bit, which can be quite frightening. You may also be tuning into things and picking up on negative energies, which can feel a bit frightening too. You'll have physical difficulties. So I know that we've had Gavin, some others have talked about health complaints. So you'll have aches, you'll have pains, you might have fatigue. That was a big one for me. You'll have brain fog. You know, you'll be talking to someone and you'll just lose your way. And, you know, you get a bit spacey. It's all part of being ungrounded. And of course, you will be unable to ground your energy. So this is the particular sign that I'm actually really interested to know if you guys resonate with. It gets to the point where no matter what you try, nothing grounds your energy, or it grounds it for a little while, and then it kind of eases off and reverts back to, I'm totally ungrounded again. My symptoms are through the roof. Please tell me in the chat if this is making sense to you. And also I want to know in the chat, what's your strongest sign? So out of that list that we had, you should be able to fit just about any sign or symptom into one of those headings, because it's like an umbrella. It's a catch-all term. So don't worry about the specifics. Don't worry if yours is a little bit different from someone else's. As long as it fits into one of those 8 signs or symptoms, we know that you're going through spiritual awakening. So tell us in the chat. Really interested to hear this. Okay, let's see. Kate says paranoia. Oh, totally. Paranoia can come up because paranoia would be part of the fight or flight response. And remember, if you are clearing past life pain, there could also be stuff in this lifetime that's made you feel fearful and maybe brought you through some trauma. That's all going to come up again. So it's common for that to happen. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that fight or flight response getting activated. Shaz says the strongest sign is empathy and deep anxiety. I'm sorry to hear that because that is really tough. That tells me you're a strong soul. Gavin says confusion is probably the strongest. Confusion really can keep you stuck for years. It's not good. Jacob says the strongest sign is aches and pains. Now, a lot of people get this, and the other thing that you can get, other than just random aches and pains, is a lot along the spine, along the neck and the base of the skull, because that's your main chakra line, where all the main chakras are moving the energy all the time. So that can be common too. Kate says really strong, horrible vibrations throughout. Absolutely. She says, like I'm plugged in and stress makes it worse. You're going to love the rest of the content in this webinar, Kate, because it's just going to address exactly what you're going through. There's a reason why you're experiencing that. And again, it's another guaranteed spiritual awakening sign. Kristen says anxiety. Yeah, it's just awful. Ilona says 7 out of 8 are a yes for me, except the psychic senses. I don't know if I have any psychic senses. Well, interestingly, if you don't know if you have psychic senses, that could be a sign too, because we tend to shut them down. This is actually quite common. As we move through awakening, we shut down some of our psychic abilities and intuitive gifts because we've been hurt or harmed in previous lifetimes. So Tara says physical difficulties 4 years on and they're still as intense. Will they go? They absolutely will go. You just need to move through this energy. I can see we've got so much here. Everyone's really resonating with this. So I can see Shaz is saying the anxiety became so bad, there was intrusive thoughts and had to up antidepressant dose. Well, the thing is, all you can do is make a sensible decision to support yourself through the experience. And that's really the best that you can do in that particular time frame. So you're taking responsibility for it and you're doing what you can to support yourself. But what we're going to share is going to help you just that little bit more. And I can see Jacob says, I did one of Kelly's recordings and that awoke my psychic senses. Amazing. That is awesome. I'm so glad. They're really great for just activating the pineal gland if you're feeling that you're a little bit shut down. Okay, great. So we're hearing everyone's strongest sign. So now we get into the part where we're really going to explain how the process of awakening occurs in the body and in the energy system too. And this is where you're going to have your aha moments that make sense. Okay. So stage 1 is when you awaken, and it's also a sort of preparation. So at a predetermined moment of time that you decided before you came down here, before you incarnated here on earth, you had a predetermined time for this awakening to begin. And what happens is really high frequency quotients of energy start to flood your system. So this is why awakening feels like, whoa, this is just completely knocked me off my feet, because it is instant and it is a huge intensity of high frequency energy that we are not used to. That's not something that's generally available here. So it's a huge shock to the system, and I've even seen damage done to the chakra system as this has moved through. The psychic centers are opened, so that's usually really abrupt as that energy moves through because the energy is moving up through the spine, up through the main chakra system, and out through the top of the head and the crown chakra. So what you find is the psychic centers really get kind of blasted open, and that means that there's no psychic boundaries in place. So this is why all of a sudden you might be feeling, sensing, hearing, or seeing things that you weren't aware of before, and your psychic senses become so much more acute. So you might even begin having quite powerful spiritual experiences, some of which won't make sense because they're too open. And also if you find that you're not getting the psychic centers being activated and things happening there, it's just a sign that something's happened in a past life to shut it down a little bit, and it can be really opened very, very easily. Now, due to the heightening of these psychic senses and all that sensitivity, you're going to feel the need to retreat. So usually what happens is we start to pull back from people, from places, from things that we used to be interested in. You'll want to hibernate, and that is completely normal. I became a lot more introverted when awakening began, and it can be quite difficult to be around people, but that's totally normal. And then we get the next stage, which is healing. So this is the key. This is really what awakening is all about. This is the purpose, okay? And this is going to help you to understand some of the signs and symptoms that come up. So like I said, that energy is pushed really powerfully through the chakra system. Now, it gets pushed through the chakra system through this main center, up through the spine, because its purpose is to dislodge stuck energy, negative energy, blocks in your chakra system, so that it can get that energy flowing smoothly again, so that you have this pure connection to source, which of course brings in your psychic senses. Okay, that's what it's meant to do. But if that isn't happening for you yet, it's because there are blocks in the way. Okay, so don't worry about that. That's really common. The emotional centers become heightened and you get really highly sensitive. So it helps you to feel everything. This is meant to happen. You're meant to be overly emotional. You're meant to be super sensitive because your system is trying to make sure that you don't miss a thing. It's going to show you exactly what you need to heal and clear to move into that next level, exactly what you need to heal and clear to make your life better from the challenges that you're going through right now. And if you have that really high sensitivity, you're aware of everything that's going on in your system, I will bet that you are 10 times more aware of what's going on within you now than you were before your awakening began, because that sense has been turned up. So the thing is, as those emotional centers become heightened, you're able to feel everything. It also helps you to address what you might have been avoiding. So this is why awakening becomes really uncomfortable, because all the things that most normal people do to say, I'm not going to deal with that, I don't want to feel that, I don't want to talk about that, you become unable to do that. All the coping strategies that were there to protect you from some of that heavier stuff are gone. You can't do that anymore. So this is why it's really painful, because there's no protection mechanism for the psyche. It's just, this needs to be healed. Here it's coming up. You better get it, better get it cleared as soon as you can. And that means that the things that you've been avoiding are going to come to the surface. So you're dealing with challenges now that are 10 times tougher than the stuff that you dealt with in your life before, because it's really digging at things that are deeply, deeply rooted in your psyche, in your energy, and in your current life too. So the blocks that this energy hits against as it moves up through the chakra system, it starts hitting against all these blocks through the main chakras. They're old emotions. So it's heartbreaks, it's trauma, it's all this negative energy from this lifetime and from past lifetimes too. And it's coming to the surface so that it can be realized and so that it can ultimately be healed. You need to feel so that you can heal. You need to know what it is so that you can take the next step and move into where it is you're meant to be. And your emotions are going to change wildly and erratically at this time. So you might feel that you have no control over your emotions. You might feel really dysregulated and you can't quite get back in alignment. You might feel like you have no control over how strongly they show up or how frequently you're triggered. It's all of a sudden, it's like my emotions are out of control. And that can be quite an unsettling feeling, but it doesn't have to be that way. So don't worry. Okay. Now, having this much light in your system is extremely ungrounding. So this is how I know that this is the key problem, apart from the fact that we've seen the results over years of refining this system. When you go through awakening, that high frequency spiritual awakening energy that moves into the system and starts moving up through the chakra system, it is incredibly ungrounding because there's not enough density in the physical body to balance it or to anchor it. Okay, so we're bringing a level of energy into our system that is much higher frequency than probably anyone else you know, unless someone's on a similar path. It's a different type of energy, which makes it very challenging to manage and to work with. So that's where we become chronically and intensely ungrounded. And it's that ungroundedness that creates all the unwanted, challenging signs and symptoms. That is the root cause. If you can deal with grounding, you will eradicate your symptoms almost overnight. You know, usually takes 3 to 4 days, 2 weeks maximum, but it'll shift it almost immediately. So ungroundedness equals challenging spiritual awakening symptoms. You don't want to be in that ungrounded state. And what I can tell you is it is almost impossible for someone to be going through a spiritual awakening and not be ungrounded. I haven't come across anyone yet. So you can tell me if you know of anyone, if that's your experience. Haven't come across it yet. Everyone I work with is chronically and intensely ungrounded. So, is this making sense, guys? Is everyone understanding what we're talking about? And I can see that some people are commenting with some of the challenges that they're experiencing. Can't be around family. This comes up a lot. Can't be around family, feeling very emotional and full of fear. Because what happens is you start to remove yourself from the unhealthy patterns of the family. And it causes a lot of problems. And it means that when you step back in, you get really triggered. So that's really normal when this goes through. And rigid muscles, you get a lot of muscle pain, a lot of uncomfortable things. And I can see Kate says, I miss my mum, but she triggers me and we were always close. I have a lot of guilt because she's elderly. Totally understandable. And thank you to everyone who is commenting and giving support there. I really appreciate that. It's a lovely energy to bring. It's really tough. It's really tough to move through this. It's not for everyone. But you guys are strong. And I know that you are light workers and that you're here to move through this. And we're going to help you with that. So, like I said throughout the video, don't panic. If you're experiencing any of the things that we've talked about, even some of the things I've seen in the chat, and I can sense the energy of it, it's like, is this a sign? I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't panic. It is normal to experience that level of intensity when you're going through awakening. It's normal. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be like that. So let's go into lesson 4. So let's talk about why energy grounding just doesn't work for us. Okay, this is hopefully going to make sense. Please let me know in the chat if it is making sense. I think it will when we talk it through. So, like I said before, your energy is already chronically ungrounded due to the awakening process. Like I said, the high influx of that high frequency energy moving into the system, opening up the chakra system, allowing everything to come to the surface. Your energy is already chronically ungrounded by that process. So things that would work for the average person who is just slightly ungrounded just isn't enough for us. And I know this because I went through years of trying to get grounded and I just couldn't do it. I know that a lot of my clients are in the same energy with that, and you can let me know if you've experienced that. It's like we're a different frequency when we're going through awakening. So the things that work for everyone else just don't work for us. And there's a few reasons why. Okay, so grounding when you're going through spiritual awakening doesn't work. It doesn't last, or it might actually make your symptoms worse during the spiritual awakening process. There's a few reasons for that. One is because all of the frequently suggested grounding techniques are energy stimulating. So this is the thing people don't think about, because your energy is usually not this sensitive. If you get a crystal, for example, and someone says that is for grounding, it depends what you like to use, but let's say there's a crystal that's for grounding. The challenge is that when your energies are already so high frequency and very, very sensitive, very, very volatile when we're going through awakening, when you hold that crystal, or indeed when you even have it in the space around you, it can happen when it's in the same room. When you hold that crystal, what you're actually doing is, instead of it grounding your energy, there's an energetic interaction. And because it's stimulated, even though it's meant to be grounding, what it does is it actually overstimulates your energies all over again. Okay, so anything that you use that has some sort of energetic effect, crystals, incense, essential oils, you might do meditation, you might do yoga, energy healing. If you're doing things that have that type of energetic interaction in some way, you're probably going to find, in fact, you're almost definitely going to find that it will unground you. And our energy is already highly overcharged because of those awakening energies. So something that is specifically for grounding is going to interact with that sensitivity. It's going to charge your energies even further than they already are, which is why people tend to find that it can actually make your symptoms much worse than they were before. It's a really strange phenomena, but it does happen. I've seen it a million times with all my clients, and it just keeps you in that cycle of going round and round over and over again. And I don't want that for you. I want you guys to really move forward in your awakening. The other reason that this tends to happen is that your soul doesn't know how. So what you need to remember is when awakening begins, this high frequency energy that comes into your space, your soul has no idea how to deal with that. How does your energy integrate that? How does it absorb that energy? How does it keep you sustained? How does it move your energy system now that this new energy is in place? It just doesn't know how to do that. And this could be for two main reasons. So either you come from a soul level where you haven't ever actually incarnated as a physical being before, so meaning that your soul doesn't actually have any idea what grounding even is, never mind how to do it, or your soul once knew but has forgotten. That happens a lot. It really does happen a lot. The soul just doesn't know how. And the other thing is, we're seeing really high frequency energies coming in now as we are going through a really big shift. And that shift means that, we're in a space where it's all new territory. It's all completely new. It's like learning a skill for the first time. It's like, I don't know what to do. I've never seen this before. No one's shown me how to move through this. I don't know what to do. And the other reason is that your soul might have lost its sense of grounding over the lifetimes, in which case we need to teach it how. It's just, you've moved along so long and you've been in fight or flight, you've been going through trauma, you've had really intense experiences, you've just kind of forgotten how. The other reason, and this comes up a lot, please tell me if you resonate with this, is that your soul doesn't want to be here. And I see this a lot in my sessions. So it's a common one. It's an underlying feeling of not belonging, or maybe wishing that you hadn't been incarnated here at all. And this longing to go home really stops you from being fully here in your body and being integrated in the physical 3D world. So it's like a sense of, I remember who I am, I remember where I'm from, even if you don't really know for sure, you just know it's not here, and you just don't really want to completely commit. There's a part of the soul that does that. And also, the other thing that comes up is that your soul thinks that being ungrounded is the only way to connect spiritually, because you need to remember, being ungrounded means that you are ungrounding and unanchoring yourself from the earth plane so that you can connect to higher realms. Well, that is the way that it used to be done. That's the way that it used to have to be done, but not anymore. The energies we're in are different now. Things have changed. And a lot of healers and psychics tend to have this belief that you have to be ungrounded to connect higher spiritually. But it is not true. I've found time and time again, it's not true. In fact, this is exactly why you're going through the process of awakening, so that you can clear this out, so that you can move past this limiting belief and find that you can be grounded and connected at the same time. They're not two worlds anymore. And like I'm saying, to discover that you can be fully grounded and present in the physical, but still spiritually awakened and connected at the same time, that is the kind of perfect space for your energy to be in. Your soul doesn't need to leave the body in order to be closer to God, Creator, your guides, higher dimensions. It's all one energy, one world, ultimately. It's a different sort of energy. And lastly, your psychic senses are imbalanced. So remember, you've probably come through tons of different lifetimes where your psychic senses were wide open. And of course, we were burned at the stake. We were cast out for being healers or psychics or intuitives. And you've also had lifetimes, maybe even this one now, where you've shut your abilities down as a result of that. This isn't even a conscious thing. It's not a decision where you say, I don't want to be at risk anymore, so I'm going to close that sense down. It just happens. It's a soul level protection mechanism. And this can make your system kind of unsure whether the psychic senses should be open, closed, should be there in the middle. Is it safe? Is it dangerous? It creates this conflict and confusion that makes the senses in general a little bit erratic and very out of control. So I hope from that you guys are picking up some understanding about some of these psychic senses symptoms as well, and it may be making sense for you. So we'll get into the benefits in just a little minute. I'm just checking the comments. Thank you so much for engaging, everyone. This is really fantastic to see everyone connecting. So I can see people saying, yep, feeling very sensitive to what people say, feeling vulnerable. Oh, it's so common. It really is. Now, Jacob gives an interesting comment here. I've tried meditating with 2 quartz crystals and got the worst nausea and had to immediately stop. Nausea is usually a really strong sign that you're very, very ungrounded very quickly. So I think that would confirm for you, Jacob, that it's just too ungrounding when your energies are too sensitive. Let's see. And Gavin says, I think the longing or not wanting to be here is a big part of my issues. It really is for a lot of light workers. We have this awareness of, I just don't really want to be here on some level. But hold on, because there's so much wonderful things that are waiting for you on the other side of this. Kate says, you know, oh gosh, last night was so intense. I was crying in agony and saying, why was I born? And I hate this world. So there you are. You are literally embodying the signs as we're talking about it. And I have no doubt that will have come up for you to confirm to you today what you're learning and to make you see that this is linked. You know, these things come up for us. Okay, so I'm going to take another little sip of tea. If anyone has any other questions, please put them in the chat. And we'll get to them as best we can. So the benefits of energy grounding during spiritual awakening. This is where we get into, okay, let's say we've talked about the negative aspects of this. We've been through all the challenging stuff. Let's talk about what we can do to make it better now, because you can. It doesn't have to be this way. Please believe me when I say that. It doesn't have to be this way. So let's talk about the benefits. If you can get grounded in your spiritual awakening, you're going to experience the following. First one, reduced anxiety and overwhelm. Oh, that would just be fantastic if we could get a relief in that. I know you guys will resonate. It's a really common symptom, and it's created, like I said, from too much influx of energy in a body that just can't ground it. And it creates this feeling of anxiety for some people, burnout and fatigue for others, overwhelm, or all of the above, which makes it very difficult to move through. The other benefit that you'll get is balanced, functional, psychic, and intuitive abilities. So maybe you've noticed that you're super sensitive. Too much energy is going to open those psychic centers, those energetic channels, and we haven't gained proper control of them yet. So if you can ground them, what you're going to find is that it allows you to learn how to discover and utilize those gifts in a healthy, balanced way. It really just brings things back into alignment. And this is actually where you take out the need to practice for years and years, to study energy healing or intuition. It's all in there. It's all a part of who you are. If you ground yourself, this stuff will come to the forefront naturally. It's really exciting the way that it works. You'll get improved cognitive function. So when you're too ungrounded, your brain literally can't cope with spiritual awakening. There's too much spiritual and energetic information trying to flood the system, and it just can't process it. It can't put it into order. It can't make sense of it. There's no rationalizing of this. So grounding allows your brain an opportunity to really process all of those changes on the physical level, which is the level that tends to be the slowest of all the aspects. And it helps us to fully understand that journey in a way that makes sense for normal daily life. This is where it's like, okay, I'm going through awakening, but my head's straight. I can still think clearly. I can still make decisions. I can still move forward. You know, when we're ungrounded, that's just impossible. And you also get reduced emotional turmoil and triggering, which is just a huge relief, because emotions run high during spiritual awakening, and it seems around every corner there's another trigger. It draws up fear and all these really uncomfortable, upsetting, intense emotions. And the higher that you go, this is the interesting thing, the higher you go spiritually, the more density is drawn up out of the system in order to elevate you there. So it actually creates more emotional turmoil, and it happens much more quickly than we can handle. So if you slow it down with grounding, you'll find that you can make it manageable, because you still have a life to live. You still have a life to live alongside that awakening process. It shouldn't be that awakening just, you know, turns your life upside down and you can't move forward. It's about moving forward with that process side by side. But you'll definitely find that reduced emotional triggering and turmoil is like huge. It's just so great, such a big relief. And the great one is, and this came up in the comments earlier, is it aligns you with your purpose. So your soul purpose or your life mission absolutely will not manifest itself. It won't show up. It won't become clear to you. You'll stay stuck in confusion until spirit or the universe knows that you're ready. So you need to be grounded in the physical. You need to be capable of taking action so that you can fulfill the purpose or the spiritual mission that's ahead of you. So that can't be done if you're so ungrounded that normal life is challenging, or if you're finding life is too difficult to cope because the spiritual awakening signs and symptoms are just too much. You need to ground yourself first, and then it's going to become known to you, because you'll be in a state, in a position where you're able to actively do something to bring it to fruition. They're not going to give you your purpose if they're looking at you and saying, oh, she's not going to be able to handle this at all. You know, this is not the right time. That's when you get into the frustration of, I want to move forward, but nothing's really happening yet. Okay. So it's all about grounding. It really makes a huge difference. So tell me in the chat if it resonates. Have you had any aha moment? I know a lot of you have shared what you've been experiencing already, which I appreciate so much. It's fantastic. But it's, you know, what is the aha moment that you've had? The kind of enlightened moment that you've experienced as a result of this? Please share it with us. Okay, so we've got our live Q&A time. Now, we've already answered a lot of questions, so I'm going to stop my screen share for a second because I have a little document to the side of all our questions. I think I've probably answered most of them already, but if you have any others, just put them in the chat and I'll get them in just a second. So let's see what else we have here. Having a little look. I think most of the questions we've actually answered, to be honest. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's have a look. Yes, I think we've answered them all so far. So if you have any others, feel free to put them in the chat and I will happily answer them for you. So let's see. Let's see what else we've got here. There's loads of comments. Okay. Just reading through these to see what we need to answer here. Stephen says, what if you see your angel? Is that also part of grounding? That would not be a grounding experience. That would be an ungrounding experience because you're tuning into a higher vibration. But the more that you can get grounded, the more often you will be able to connect to those energies. It will really help in the long term. Kate says, I'm triggered seeing people live normal, just interacting. Is that normal? Of course it's normal. Of course. You know, if you are going through a really challenging process, you're going to get upset. You're going to be reminded of the fact that you're not coping as well as you would like. You're going to be reminded of the fact that other people have the luxury of living their normal daily lives, of not really having to think too deeply, not really having to feel these deep emotions. And that can be a challenge. It can be upsetting to look at other people and think, well, how come you're able to live a healthy, happy life and I'm feeling like a mess right now? So completely normal. Be gentle with yourself. It's okay to feel emotions like that when this is happening. Right, so Shaz says, what is your opinion on grounding items such as earthing mats for sleep or using an earthing mat with chair while working? Fantastic idea. Anything you can use to ground yourself will help hugely, but you're going to have to avoid those key things, that anything that is an energetic stimulus. So crystals, essential oils, you know, trying to think, meditation sometimes can be a trigger, yoga can be a trigger, anything that affects your energy, you want to just check it out and see if it's okay. And you can also test it with your energy, you know, how do I react when I'm around that? And when I cut that out of my space, is it any better? And I'll be a little bit more on that just shortly. So I can see Maya saying, yeah, even earthing shoes, fantastic idea. Yeah, anything you can do to help your energy ground is huge. Gavin has a really interesting question. Do you think there can be part of us that doesn't want to be grounding or reacts against grounding attempts? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because like I said before, there is a part of us, especially if you come from something a bit more higher vibrational, that doesn't really want to be here. You need to remember we incarnate here and we are sensitive souls. We're a higher vibration. So we find the shock of the harshness of the earth plane very difficult to deal with. We don't understand why there's so much conflict. We can't understand why people hurt each other, why there's so much kind of, you know, dysfunction in the way that people react to each other, upset, miscommunication. We don't get it. So there's always a part of us that is saying, I don't really want to fully commit here, so I'm not going to be fully present. And what I find when I'm working with clients is you tend to find energetically, people are going through spiritual awakening, their energy's back here a little bit. It's not completely in the system, it's just a little bit removed. So yeah, that does happen. Teresa has shared her aha moment. She said, my aha is how critical grounding is. Thank you. Now, how do I do it? I've got that coming up for you, Teresa. I'm so glad that you've had that aha moment. It's huge. And Gavin says, is grounding still possible? It's absolutely possible. But what I found is that most of the guidance that we receive on that doesn't help at all. It has the opposite effect. So you need to be really careful with the things that you choose to ground with. Stephen says, my aha moment is seeing different coloured crystals appearing and disappearing. So you've got some interesting spiritual things showing up. That's interesting. Let's see. Kate has a good question. So Kate asks, I wondered what triggers your chronic fatigue illness. Now, you guys might or might not know that information about me. So my spiritual journey ultimately began when I developed chronic fatigue syndrome, and I was in a wheelchair for about 3 years. I couldn't really walk. Anytime I tried to stand up, I would faint and collapse. And I had fatigue that was so extreme, I couldn't work. I couldn't go out with my friends. I couldn't do anything for about 3 years. And I'm certain that that was part of spiritual awakening, because a lot of the people that I work with in awakening find that when the energies hit the system, if it's too much, which it was for me at that time, it just kind of crashes the system. It just burns you right out, and it can make things really difficult. So Jacob says his aha moment was where you explained that the light can't fill the density of the body. That made a lot of sense for ungrounding our souls. Good, that does make sense, and I hope that it's really clicked for everyone. Jem has a good question. Can one decide not to awaken and just stay as one was? Unfortunately, no. When this process begins, it seems to continue. It's the soul that's really leading the process and not us. So that can be quite challenging. But you can definitely make it better. There's so much you can do that will improve this. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's see. Shaz says, although you recommend pausing, meditating, I love a 10-minute meditation where I surrender to earth. Feels like it makes my spirit and body mind align. Is it okay to continue that? If you find that that helps your energy, it must be okay. But you do need to be really careful, because generally any sort of meditation, energy healing, even if you're working with an energy healer, they won't understand how sensitive our awakening energies can be. So things that are great for other people might not be great for us. But if it works and you find that it's good, then keep it in your toolkit. That's important. Kate says, I'm scared my neighbours think I'm crazy because I was never like this. I was an extrovert. You know, that happens a lot. You know, people do that around you, your family, everyone's looking like, what has happened to you? You've completely changed. But interestingly, Kate also said, I couldn't tolerate a grounding mat. I tried so much. A lot of people try these things, and again, it just doesn't resonate. It doesn't work with our energies, and you need to really honor that. So let's see. Teresa says, along with these symptoms, health issues, energy flowing up through my head, lots of emotional release, synchronicities, I also have a clearer seeing about the theatre aspects of life and society, belief systems, narratives. I now feel so on the fringe as that part of it. Absolutely. This is your consciousness shifting, your perspective and your awareness shifting. Let's see. And that's a good question. Shah says, destiny versus free will, which is real? Well, I have tend to find that when I've been working with clients and working in my own experience, that it is ultimately things that we have decided before we got down here. So there are key milestones and points that will happen throughout, but the rest is free will. The rest is what you want to do with it. So you need to make the right decisions to take care of yourself and make sure that you're okay. Right, okay. So if you have any other questions, of course, you can ask. Just ask as you need, and let's get back into the rest of our webinar. So let's see. Okay, give me just 1 second and I will share my screen so you guys can see this. There we go. And if you have other questions, like I said before, all you need to do is put them in the chat. This is what I'm here for. And this is really what I wanted for you guys, is to really have that ability to get your questions answered, to just take the anxiety out of the whole process. So let's have a little bit of a recap. Today, so far, we have learned that we've learned the real signs and symptoms of spiritual awakening. And I hope that from being able to ask in the chat, you've got more clarity on whether you're going through an awakening or not. Everything that I've heard today is tick, tick, tick for awakening. There's no doubt in my mind that you guys are going through a spiritual awakening. I hope there's no doubt in yours. You also learned why traditional grounding just does not work for us, and why when we're going through a spiritual awakening. You know for sure that you're going through a spiritual awakening, no question about it. And if there is a question, you need to tell me in the chat, because there should be no question about it. I have heard nothing but confirmation of spiritual awakening from everything you guys have been sharing. So you're here today because your spiritual awakening is ultimately not what you'd hoped. You want the transformation of a spiritual awakening, but you don't want all the chaos and the drama that tends to go hand in hand with that. You want a simple way to gain control, to ground your awakening and then reduce the symptoms that you're experiencing, which can be incredibly difficult. And you've been through that overwhelming phase of spiritual awakening. You're fed up with that. You've done it all. It's too much. And you're ready to take the next step into the transformative phase where things actually get really good. Now is your time. I really mean that in the strongest sense. This is your time. You need to make the decision to be a conscious co-creator in your awakening journey, and really support yourself throughout this process. So this is your time to feel calm, to feel centered, to feel stabilized, no matter how long it's been since you felt that way. This is your time. It's your time to stop those totally intense, ever-changing symptoms that make awakening and life so difficult and so unbelievably chaotic. And I can resonate with that. I do remember it being that way. It's your time to spiritually awaken with ease, which is possible. It's 100% possible to awaken with ease and to reduce all those symptoms. And most importantly, to enjoy the process. You know, we get so caught up in the intensity, we don't get to enjoy that. And I want that for you. It's your time to do this with a proven step-by-step system that we have developed through all our experience, my experience of awakening, the experience of working with people in sessions for years and years and really understanding their journey and their experiences and needs for the awakening journey too. So I want you to remember, nothing I have shared with you is just theory or like ideas. These are all things that I have tried myself, that are things from my own awakening experience, things that my clients have done to reduce their awakening symptoms and really gain control of the process. I don't have any special advantages. I don't have any sort of like special skills that make me different. There's no secret tool or access to an expensive resource that fixed it all for me. I just have this tried and tested system that works. And if I can do this, I absolutely promise you can do it too. No matter how broken you feel, no matter how much you feel that you can't cope, I've been there and know what it's like. You absolutely can do this. So I want to introduce our fantastic Spiritual Awakening course. It is called Grounded Awakenings, and it's a 7-day energy healing course that addresses every single symptom of spiritual awakening. So you will listen to the meditation that is connected to the particular sign or symptom you're experiencing. And what it's going to do is support your energies. It's going to make energetic adjustments and bring in the healing that's required to teach your system how to deal with these awakening energies. It's all about reducing your symptoms. That's the key main focus. There's also some step-by-step guidance in that on how you can ground yourself. So it's not just an energetic course. We've also got some guidance on, tangible things, steps that you can take, and we support you throughout that process to make those changes. And like I said, it's a 7-day course that's going to address every different aspect of awakening. So what you can do is you can take 7 days to go through the course or move through it at your own pace. But whenever a sign or symptom comes up, all you need to do is go to the energy healing meditation and you listen to it, you relax, you get the energetic upgrades that you need so that your system can cope. And that's it. You've resolved it. You don't need to go and train in energy healing. You don't need to go and get an expensive session with a healer for that specific thing. It's all done for you. The other thing is that when I do these energy healing meditations, I'm working with a collection of high vibrational spirit guides who are dedicated to helping us on the awakening pathway. So when you watch these videos, no matter when, they go to work on your behalf. They tailor this energy to you. It's not, we're adjusting this for one person and this is the way it's got to be. It's, what is this person's energy? How is their awakening going? And how can we adjust that for the best levels for them? So this is what makes it different. And of course, if you're watching live, we have a free bonus. So it's our free rainbow light energy clearing. It's an energy healing meditation that I feel is really important when you're going through awakening, which is why I've included it. It's worth $75. It's completely free if you get it during this special offer time, which is only available for 48 hours. And what it's going to mean is that, see, when you're around other people, when you're feeling that the energy is a bit stagnant, when you want a way to clear your energy regularly to really help clear you and keep you centered, this is the energy healing meditation that you use. It's a tool that you will use for years and years throughout your awakening. And it also cuts unhealthy cords to toxic relationships and negative connections that you've had in the past. So you can really clear a lot out with that meditation too, which is great. And let me know if you have any questions, guys. So I've got a little case study here. This is the lovely Laura, a client of mine. So Laura said, being ungrounded was a huge issue for me. So the grounding video is great. I use it all the time. As a result of your course and following your instructions, I've learned a lot about myself and I've uncovered a lot of deep pain and trauma that I've needed to heal and release, which the other videos in the course provide the help with. We cover everything. I totally recommend this course to anyone and everyone who is going through this awakening journey. So a big thank you and a hug from me to you, which is lovely. So here's what you'll get. You'll get the Grounded Awakenings course. That's a 7-day course of energy healing meditations, which is usually $240. You also, as part of that, get an additional meditation, which is the bonus that we include. It's the Enhanced Divine Connection meditation. And I feel this is really important for people going through awakening because those psychic boundaries are not in place. And I want to make sure that you have some form of something that you can use before you have any spiritual interaction, before you do meditating, before you do energy work, before you make a prayer, whatever it is that you're doing that's personal to you, you can use this short meditation first. And what it will do, well, it will initiate and ensure that you have safe, clear interaction with your guides, creator, your higher self, or anyone else that you choose. You can just select who it is that you want to connect with. And it means that you're protecting your energy. We are ensuring that the content that you're receiving is trustworthy. So you're not allowing anything else to come into your space. And it just really creates a better energy when you're doing anything like that. It ensures that you can connect to whoever you want, and you just pop the meditation on and listen to it, and it guides you through. We've also got the bonus of the Rainbow Light energy clearing meditation, which is worth $75. You get it free when we're doing this promotion for the next 2 days, 48 hours only. And of course, you get the emergency grounding techniques. They really work. Honestly, they really, really work. They definitely helped in my awakening, and they'll help in yours too. We tell you exactly what to do. You can see the lessons on the little image there. You just follow along the guidance, and it's actually really simple. The steps are not difficult at all. So here's what you're going to achieve. And if you have any questions, you can let me know in the chat. The benefits of the Grounded Awakening 7-day course, your emotional sensitivity and all that intensity is going to lessen, which I know for most people, if you can just get that sorted, it's a huge relief. You're going to release the anxiety and the overwhelm. You're going to stop picking up everyone else's stuff. So this is where it becomes a bit more manageable to be around other people, to be in different spaces, which is difficult when you're going through awakening. Your psychic senses will balance, so they'll become more clear and more reliable, because like I said, you're grounded. You can connect more because you're a stable connection. And also make sure that what you're tuning into is safe. It's just a little bit of protection for you. Your awakening is going to feel more balanced and in control. So this is where you start to feel sane again. This is where you start to feel like, I'm actually okay. Life's moving forward. I'm in control of this experience. I can handle it. It's a different energy completely. You're going to be fully grounded, which you'll need to be if you want to fulfill your life purpose and find that that is known to you. And you're going to begin to understand your journey. This is what brings in the insights, what lets the mind catch up, and it brings in a lot of epiphanies and kind of aha moments. So it really makes a big difference. So you're going to leave with a system to support your energies and address every key challenge of your awakening. I was meticulous with this, making sure that all the energy healings really cover each aspect of the challenge of awakening. And you'll finally have a tried and tested way to deal with those symptoms when they come up. So it was important to me that people had something that it's like, I'm up today, I got up, something's not right in my energy. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that I feel overwhelmed. Well, you go to the overwhelm lesson and you get cleared and you move on with your day. I'm going through my day and everything's okay. I feel anxious. What should I do? I could be panicking for hours, or I just listen to the anxiety meditation, let it do its clearing and adjustments, and move on with my time. Okay. It's a really great way to deal with things when they come up and to bring you back to balance quickly and easily, because that's the most important thing. You are going through a spiritual awakening process, but if you can't find balance in that process, it is going to throw you around like a rag doll. This is what gives you a handrail to hold on to and something to use when these things come up, instead of having to sit with it or struggle through the day or days. It can be really, really difficult. So we'll talk through the different modules of everything that we cover. And I'm just checking if anyone else has any questions. You just need to let me know. Let's see. Yeah, everyone's just kind of resonating with what we've talked about, which is good. We have another little sip of tea. Remember, I'm Scottish, so we drink a lot of tea. Okay, so here's the Grounded Awakenings course. So module 1, we're going to fully ground your body, your soul, your energy. And the most important thing is we teach your system how to naturally maintain that grounded energy on a daily basis. So this is where we bring in the, your system doesn't know how to manage the awakening energies. Let's show it how, and then it can do it automatically. So it means that it becomes much easier to stay grounded long term because your energy already knows how. Okay, that one module on its own really would shift a lot of people's challenges quite immediately. Module 2, we release exhaustion. So this is usually exhaustion carried on the soul level, and it's from this lifetime and past lifetimes. And of course, exhaustion and burnout just purely from being through the awakening process and being
completely exhausted and tired by moving through it. Module 3 is a really powerful lesson. So we heal the broken soul. So what we're looking at is any rips or tears in your auric field. We're also looking at that broken energy that does tend to show up in light workers, where it's like, you know, I've been doing this for so long. I've lived so many lifetimes. I have continually come here to help and to support and to try and make things better. And it's just, I'm just really getting tired. It's going on too long. That comes up a lot. So it really helps to heal that. And it's a really powerful lesson. Most people get a big shift from that. Module 4, which is a welcome module, we clear the anxiety. So that means that we are releasing the excess energy from your system, because that's the cause. It's these high frequency energies that come into the system. Then we maybe interact with some other energetic stimulating things, and all of a sudden our energy is so charged that we are literally like a plug-in charger, you know, in the socket of the wall with nothing to charge. You know, it's not plugged into anything. It just keeps charging and charging and gets more and more overcharged to the point where we feel like we just can't cope. It literally burns out of our energy. It's a really intense feeling. So if we can ground our energies, we clear the anxiety. So that means we release excess energy, we calm the body, and we teach your system how to stay grounded through high energy events like astronomical events, full moons, eclipses, any other energetic event that's going on. And that means that you have something that you can use when that anxiety rises up. You can get it out of your system, because it's going to build up over time. You want to be doing this every now and again just to keep you balanced. You can clear it straight out of the system, and you can bring that calm back. And it really does support your system in a big way. The anxiety is one of the worst symptoms, so I wanted to make sure that was included. Module 5, we release overwhelm, and we reduce the energetic sensitivity to help you to handle that incoming energy much more easily. So it's about helping your system not to become overwhelmed, not to become overloaded, not for the kind of cogs to slow down and stop moving because nothing can be computed in the brain. It's like, let's just clear all that overwhelm and teach your system how to handle the new incoming energy with ease, how to just integrate it. And that means that you're more protected long term, because your system knows what to do when any sort of shift happens. Module 6, we balance your psychic skills and your intuitive senses while still remaining grounded. So like I said, having that balance, I'm grounded, I'm anchored to the earth, but I'm also completely connected spiritually, and they become one world. And this is also where you'll notice the difference, where you're moving through your daily life and there's more insights coming in. There's more spiritual wisdom coming to you. There's more intuition as part of your daily life, because they're not two separated worlds. It becomes one world that you experience simultaneously. So that's a big difference. And module 7, we clear the confusion. So that allows clarity and insight and understanding to your journey to come through from a higher perspective. And it also really helps you with moving forward, because most people going through awakening feel lost. They feel confused. They don't know what the next step is. So that's where we really get that cleared out, so that your mind can catch up a little bit and help you to know what to do to move forward. It really can calm the mind considerably. And then we've got the bonus lesson. So this was a little extra lesson that I added because I felt it was important for people going through awakening, because we're a little bit vulnerable in our energy, to be honest. And I think it's important that while we do want to connect spiritually to lots of different things and, you know, connections and spirits, we want to make sure that we're doing it safely. And I want you to be safe and protected as you do this, but still able to do it so that you can get the information that you need. So we enhance divine connection with a guided meditation that you can use to initiate safe, clear interaction. That means you're more likely to get information that has clarity to it, that is trustworthy, that makes sense. And you can use it to connect with your guides, creator, your higher self, any deity or god you can think of, any ascended master. It's entirely up to you. You use the video before any spiritual interaction or meditation that you're doing, and it'll also help to just keep that energy grounded as you do what it is that you're doing afterwards. Okay, so let's see if we have any questions. I think we have a little slide that is struggling a little bit there. If you have any questions, just let me know, guys. Let's see. Teresa says a 7-day course. How long would I have access for your entire life? lifetime. You will have that course. You can use it any and all times that you need it. And it's quite handy to have just as a kind of tool that's available. So I hope I'm getting this name right. Is it Jane? I really apologize if I'm not saying that correctly. The question is, how do you or we know that the channeled meditations are from safe sources? Well, if you're not sure, what you can do is you can go to our Teachable School, Spiritual Awakening Science, and you can look at our reviews and you can hear from all the people who I've worked with over time. It's all positive. It's all good stuff. This is what my purpose was to bring these guides through who are here to help us with spiritual awakening. And I have never had a negative side effect. I've never had, it's been nothing but wonderful. So I invite you to take a little look at the reviews there and you'll see real people and their experiences in relation to the meditations. These guides are totally here to support us and they know how difficult it is for us. So, you know, it's here for you. Let's see. Let's see. I think that's all the questions so far. That looks pretty good. Okay, let's see. So, like I said, there's a fast action bonus right now. So if you purchase this within the next 48 hours, I am including another thing that I think is vital for spiritual awakening. And it's the Rainbow Light Energy Clearing Meditation. It's worth $75. You get it totally free. And it really is about clearing your auric field, clearing your energy, getting all the stuff that you're picking up from other people out of your space, because you're going to just pick up negativity like a sponge. You know, you're just picking it up everywhere. And also it's going to help you to cut those negative energy attachments and cords to toxic relationships and unhealthy connections. So we're not clearing out the love. We're not taking away any of the positives. We're just disconnecting the negatives. And that can sometimes be just a sense of feeling controlled by other people, feeling obligated, you know, to go along with what someone else would prefer or whatever it is. There's unhealthy patterns there. And this is going to help you to clear that, which again will take you forward again in your awakening. And it also means when you're out and about or when you're having a day where you just don't feel right, it's probably an indicator that your energy needs cleared. So this is one that you'll use for years to come. And again, like the other course, the Grounded Awakening, so you've got lifetime access. It is 100% yours and you can use it as often as you need, which can be really helpful. So are you ready to ditch the drama of awakening, to get fully grounded, to reduce those spiritual awakening symptoms and finally gain control over your spiritual transformation? Then join us now. So let's talk about the investment. Well, hiring me to do this energy healing for you would cost £840, which is about $1,066 because it's £120 per session, and you would need 7 sessions, which would be £840, or as I said, $1,066. Taking an energy healing course in person, if you went to a class, would cost about $900 because you need to do a basic and an advanced course to do this work. However, if you join us today, and especially within the next 48 hours, you're going to get it. Sorry, this is all worth $315. So our Grounded Awakenings is $240. The Rainbow Light Energy Clearing Meditation is $75. You're getting that free. You get the additional safe interaction meditation that's going to allow you to safely connect with whoever you choose. And of course, you're getting those step-by-step guidance to ground your awakening with the tangible steps. So we've told you all the things that don't work. This is where we tell you, okay, this is what will work. So you'll see a difference really quickly. Now you can enroll today for just $120. So you're going to save $195. I really hope that you will join now. I know that you will love the course and you'll really enjoy it. So if you click the button, you'll see that you clicked a button to join the live stream. Underneath that, you'll see that there's a button where you can click to enroll in the course, and this is what you'll see. So this is the secure checkout. You can use PayPal, you can use a credit card, debit card, whatever's right for you. And you'll see that it lists Grounded Awakenings here. Obviously, it's only $120. The price is different on that. It's only $120, and you're getting the Rainbow Light Energy Clearing and all the other stuff that we mentioned completely free. You just put your details in and you hit buy now, and then it will take you to the course. So you'll be able to access the course right away. So you'll get the Grounded Awakenings. You can start working your way through these lessons at whatever pace you like. Each lesson has the energy healing and clearing that is required for each of the symptoms that we're covering. And you're also going to have the text lessons that will tell you what to do next to make your awakening even easier. And you'll find that with some of these steps, just employing the steps that we give guidance for, you'll find an immediate change. But you can access the course straight away. So if you join today, you're going to get Grounded Awakenings, the 7-day course, plus the bonus Divine Connection meditation, which is worth $240. You're going to get the bonus lesson of the Divine Connection guided meditation for safe, clear interaction with your guides, creator, your higher self, or anyone else that you choose at all. You're getting the free bonus Rainbow Light Energy Clearing, which you can use probably for the rest of your awakening to clear your energy and just to have that tool to maintain your energy. It's worth $75. So the total value is $315, but you're getting it all today with a special offer for just $120. But I know that you'll probably have some questions. Now, if you have questions, you can of course put them in the chat, but we're going to cover a few of them right here that might be helpful. So it's your time, but I know you might be feeling like nothing else has worked for me. Is this going to work? I'm too much of a mess to do this right now. I hear that a lot, which is understandable. And I already do meditation, so do I really need this? Well, we've got some case studies of previous clients that have used the course. So Livia said, I assumed I was always ungrounded. Sorry, I assumed I was always grounded because I meditate and I have my feet in nature as much as possible. I wondered why I'm so different and I don't feel better from these things. I followed Kelly's advice 4 days ago and I'm feeling about 80% better. So this made a difference in 4 days, 80%. Can you imagine how much of a difference that would make if you could make that shift? It really does work. And then we also had Anne. She said, it's more clear to me to know what I'm supposed to heal in my life, that I now can focus on my life and what I want to heal. And I felt more grounded. Thanks so much for helping me in my journey, because your products, I can function in my life, prepare my business, and even travel a bit. And that's huge if you're going through awakening and you just can't cope with life. And then Bonnie, who said, I've tried so many meditations, techniques, and this has been the one thing that worked for me. This is amazing. So you can join us now. As I said, you're saving $195. You're getting everything for just $120. And this offer is only available for 48 hours. So you can use the button below outside of the live chat to enroll now. And if you have any other questions or there's anything else you want to talk about, then just let me know in the chat. I'm still here to help. Let's see. So Stephen had asked what the price of the course is, $120. We're doing a special offer right now. Shaz says, can you invoke your master during the meditations? You can invoke anyone you like, anyone you can think of, you can connect with spiritually. We're just giving you a way to make sure that it's safe, that you are really getting that trustworthy connection, and that the person or being that you're trying to connect to is confirmed. So we're doing it through the guides to make sure that they're looking after you. There's that boundary there, and it makes sure that nothing negative can falsely come into your space. Jan says, thank you to you too. And Teresa says, this current offer is available for 48 hours. Yep, 48 hours only. It's available for, and then we will be taking it down. It's just a little special offer that we're doing for the webinar. Let's see, Shah says, can you share the link in the chat? April, could you possibly share the link to the checkout page in the chat for everyone? That would be great. We'll have that in just a little moment. Great, so April will upload that in just a second. Let's see, any other questions you have, guys? I'm still here, it's no problem. Kate says, could I just ask please if trauma can trigger this? 100%, Kate, trauma can trigger awakening in a very big way. Trauma is one of those things that can really throw us off in awakening, and it's going to draw everything up, because remember, it's a purging process and we're healing. So as we're healing, trauma has to come up, and that does mean that we're going through some really tough stuff. But don't worry, because I think for you, actually, the Healing the Broken Soul meditation, the Grounded Awakenings course would be particularly helpful for trauma, and should clear it out very easily. Ilona's got a great question. Is it okay to listen to more than one meditation a day? Well, what I would say and what I would suggest is take it at one a day for now, because if you're starting off and your energy is really ungrounded, we don't want to take the slight chance that we could make it any more ungrounded. So for the first 7 days, the first 8 days, you know, use it 1 per day. Once you've done all of those meditations, your energy will be completely different and able to cope with a lot more. So that means then what you can do is say, okay, now I'm going to test doing 2 meditations in a day and see how I feel. And you'll probably find, because the energy is supporting you, because it knows how to handle awakening, because you're very grounded, you can use as many as you like. But that's a great question. I would just balance it to make sure that you're okay in that particular energy. Jacob says, thank you for this webinar, very informative. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, and thanks for coming along, Jacob. I really appreciate it. Let's see. So April shared that link in the chat. You can have a little look at the course if you want to get it now. Jem says, what if we don't believe in guides? How do we believe? Well, you don't need to believe in anything that doesn't resonate with you, but what I encourage you to do is look for what does resonate. Because it might just be that guides aren't your main source of connection. It might be that it's a particular deity. It might be that it's the earth energy. It might be that it's something completely different. So just trust in what you're being shown. Let's see, Teresa says, thank you, Kelly. Oh, your work has helped me name and make sense of this process like no one else. I'm so glad. That was totally what I wanted to do today, Teresa. I wanted to make sure that you guys really felt like you have a handle on the awakening process, that you understand what's happening to you, because people question themselves. It makes me so upset to see people question themselves terribly and feel like they're doing something wrong, like somehow they're getting it wrong and awakening's meant to be different. And, you know, you can make it better. You can definitely make it better with grounding, but everything that everyone has said, you know, it's like, yeah, that does happen. Of course it does. Stephen's asking how much in euros and not dollars. I'm actually not sure. April, could you have a little check how much $120 US dollars is in euros and post it in the chat for us, please? Let's see. Kate says, I'm worried about spending money I don't really have and it doesn't work. Well, you can see from our reviews, you can have a look. It works, it makes a difference. And it's something that I think you need to decide. Do you want to take the opportunity to have something that's going to help? Because I know that just from knowing that there's something there that you can go to in a day is going to help straight away. The guidance in the course, just like the previous case study we had, made an 80% improvement before she even did the meditations, just the guidance in the course. So it definitely will help, but you need to feel if it resonates with you, and if it's, you know, if it's something that you feel is right for you. Shaz just ordered off. Thank you so much, Shaz. I'm so excited for you to join us. I think that you will love the course. I really do think that you'll enjoy it. And let's see. Kate says, I've got so many questions. Sorry, don't mean to keep asking. It's just you have to be careful. Of course you do. And I completely respect that. Everyone has to really find what's right for them. But I'm certain that we can help you with this. I'm really confident. I spent a long time crafting this course and making sure that it would really speak to all the different challenges that we have in awakening that I didn't have when this was going on for me. So I'll give you guys just a little minute or two more if you have any other questions. Don't think there's anything that we haven't addressed. One thing that I will say is that a lot of people are concerned about, you know, I've used other meditations and they've not worked. Well, what I will tell you is these aren't just meditations. It's an energy healing meditation. So it's blended together. It's a guided, relaxing meditation that you can listen to, but we're also making huge energetic adjustments in that time and space. So what we're doing is making sure that we're setting your energy to support you through the awakening process. And it means that anytime you have a symptom, you can just look through that list. What one of these meditations does that fit into? Because we don't just cover the heading. If you look into them, we actually do tons of healing on lots of different things within that spectrum. And you'll find that you can clear it really quickly. Let's see. I'm just going to have another sip of tea. I've been talking a lot today. There we are. Kate says, I'm interested, but if we don't use it, oh wait, that's disappeared. Are we stuck? It really depends on you, Kate. If it's something that you tune into and for any reason you have a problem, you can always reach out, but I guarantee you won't. I think you'll find it very, very helpful. You fit into the perfect list of someone going through a very challenging spiritual awakening, and all of the things that are in the course and all the freebies that you're getting to definitely will address that. So I think that you'll feel really supported as a result. That's great. April's let us know $144 is about 132 euros approximately. And I'm just going to give a minute just in case anyone else has a question. I am here and I'm happy to help. And I've so enjoyed this webinar today. I think there is such an energy to when people join live. I don't know if you guys feel that too. There's like kind of light workers joining together type energy. And it really makes a difference. It's fantastic. I love it. I'll just give a little minute and see if anyone has any more questions. And also want to say thanks to April for bringing her wonderful energy and helping us today in the chat. It's always good to have some extra support when we're doing these things, so thanks very much. And I think we're just about done. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the masterclass. I hope that you enjoyed all the content that we covered, and I hope that it has given you aha moments, which it sounds like many people have. I can see Kate just has one more question. Will it help the nervous system? As I feel that it's giving me symptoms, it will help the energy of your nervous system. So what you want to look through, I think probably the lesson marked exhaustion would particularly tackle that, because exhaustion, then we get into fatigue, chronic fatigue, burnout, and all those things affect the nervous system. So take a little look at that particular lesson. I think you'll find that that just eases things, and certainly it'll put the energetic support in place to support your nervous system. Sometimes these things take time to heal, but as long as you can get the energy right, then that'll be great. Stephen signed up. Oh, thank you so much, Stephen. I know you're going to just really enjoy this course. I hope that you really enjoy it and get lots out of it. Jacob says, victory of the light. Absolutely, it is indeed. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kelly and April. Have a good one. You too, Jacob. Thanks for joining us. Ilona says, thank you, Kelly, for this webinar. Thank you to you, because you have followed us for a long time, Ilona. We really appreciate your support, and we notice when you're around. So thanks very much. I think that's us all done for today. I think this went fantastically. I hope you guys had a great time. Thanks for joining us, Gavin. Thanks to everyone, and have a fantastic day. Remember, you can look at the button below if you want to get the course, you want to get started, and we will see you again soon. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I'm sending lots of positive energy to you. Take care. Bye.